Hey guys, we're going to kick it off. Appreciate everybody hopping on this morning. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Paul McMillan, the National Sales Director for Cornerstone Senior Marketing. Appreciate everybody taking time out of their busy schedule this morning to be with us. We're really excited about launching RetireFlo. I think we mentioned it in all 4 road shows. We had like a handout. And guys, to give you a little timeline on this thing, what was it, Matt? Maybe March or April, we found out the 48-hour scope of appointment was coming back.
Yep, even a little bit sooner than that, but I mean, it's,
okay.
It was official around that time.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it was official. So, of course, we were bummed out, just like you guys were. And we found out about RetireFlo, I want to say in May, and we signed a contract in June. And then, guys, this has been approved by all the carriers. So it went through the gauntlet with all the carriers, and there were a few modifications, to be honest with you. And probably by the end of July, it had gone through all the carrier approval. And then it was, the process of building it out and getting it done. And the vendor set a date of September 15th, which we mentioned at the roadshow. And luckily they hit that date. So that was last Friday. So we want to make this available to you guys as soon as it was up and ready to go. So, what RetireFlo is in a nutshell, it's a link that's tied to you or your agency that will do the 48-hour scope of appointment, the permission to contact, along with taking the drugs, doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies that your insured or potential insured uses. And it comes back to you in a PDF. And the really cool thing about the drugs, the vendor has been working with Connecture, which in Medicare Center, Matt, is what Medicare app, and I'm trying to think of the new one.
Just the general Medicare Center contacts area.
Yep. Yeah. So basically, the drugs can be copied and pasted out of the PDF right into Medicare Center, and you guys can run a quote right off of that. So the reason we're calling it an efficiency tool is we really think with the Inflation Reduction Act and all the potential changes to Part D plans, you're going to really need something to efficiently run through these PDPs and see who needs to be changed and who doesn't need to be changed. So I think the most effective way to kind of show the value of this is to do a demo. So Matt Fry, who's our operations manager / technology guy, is on with us today, and Matt's going to do the demo. Matt?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Really, before that I get through that, I'm going to go through some slides just pretty quickly because I think, like to Paul's point, the best thing to do is for you guys to be able to see this. And now that this is live, we want to be able to show it to you. Paul already kind of commented on some things, in regards to, why it's important to capture this information. First and foremost, he was talking about the 48-hour rule. Anytime we're talking about sales and Medicare, that compliance conversation anymore always comes up. And, along with the 48-hour rule, CMS also came out with those, required list of elements that an agent has to go over, and doctors and pharmacies and drugs and, networks and some of these things that are asked in the questionnaire are all part of that conversation to make sure that you guys are staying compliant, asking the required questions, for the 2024 selling season. Someone's telling me I have to speak a little bit louder. I will do my best, Jennifer here. I apologize to talk a little bit louder here, but basically that's, all of this information is captured as part of the questionnaire. We know that, all of that 48-hour rule and the compliance and stuff started with all of these different commercials and things like that, about over-promising, underselling, all of that stuff, obviously Joe Namath too, and so because CMS is tightening this stuff, there's some different, there's options to capture some of this information, but I think we're going to show you here today how you guys can, utilize this to, to still work within the systems that you're already using, and just even build on your partnerships, maybe especially where we're going to maybe go through an example today of how you guys can, think about how you use these links and maybe how you can utilize this if you partner up with an employer group and things like that. You're going to see some, I think you'll get the wheels turning, I guess, this morning here when you start
Yeah.
to see some of this stuff come through. So because all this stuff came through, as Paul mentioned, Cornerstone partnered up with RetireFlo. And so, where that RetireFlo gives, like he was just saying, that it solves for the scope of appointment process. The way that the questionnaire was built out, it was made for seniors. And then not only that, to Paul's point, we did have to go through a number of back and forth with these carriers, to get this thing approved. Make sure that it was HIPAA compliant for your clients, and it's encrypted so that this information is secure. And it just kind of gives you, especially like what I was talking about with, not just employer groups, both individuals. It gives agents, kind of like that professional front door, just kind of giving them another link for them to use to kind of get to know you. You'll see that, there's some areas out here where you guys can add, information about yourself, add your pictures, really just
Bio.
kind of get this stuff, get this stuff out there in front of somebody so that you can, really work through this, and so there's kind of like a little, are you familiar with Medicare kind of thing, and, quick questionnaires, but why don't I'm going to kind of come back out here and, just kind of go through that whole partner process. I mean, like how you can just go through the demo. You'll see what the client looks like. And actually, so I should have maybe, there's some of these slides I'm going to come back to here. So I'm just going to I'm going to go out here and just go to the live demo real quick. And then I'm going to come back to some of those slides here. So I've already signed up here. Let me slide this down here a little bit. So really what RetireFlo is like when you go out there, it's just retireflo.com if you want to go out there and visit it. Now, I will tell you here at the end, we're going to go through some additional slides. There is a cost to working with RetireFlo, and we'll talk about that here after a while. But basically, you create your own link to just,
Very easy.
and it can be very easy. The setup process for RetireFlo was incredibly easy as I went through it. And then after you've logged in, this is kind of what it looks like. Now I'm going to show you my current link. So I've set up retireflo.com/MattFry. So that's the entirety of the link that you would share with customers that you want. And we're going to come back to that customization there on the link here. But I'm going to go out here and kind of show you. So if we view that page, you kind of see here you have my information, and I can show you guys how and where we can add our profile and information and bio and stuff like that. But I just, up to this point, I've just kind of added my name, my Ohio, and then myself here. And so, we see here we have the TPMO language. I know that we were working with RetireFlo to make sure that that's the right disclaimer as also for 2024 here. But we are working through, you are compliant within this tool. As I mentioned, we went through all of the compliance departments here with and companies, for all of the major carriers, especially here in Ohio. But we're going to go through, and I'm just going to click this Get Started. So this is like in this demo here, this is what a consumer would see. So after you would get set up with RetireFlo, you would set up your own link, retireflo.com/ you or your agency or whatever you wanted it to be, and then you would share this with this consumer. And so when they drop to the page, you would see this page, and all they would do is click this Get Started with Matt. Now, real quick, I will also point out that up here at the top we have that non-affiliation disclaimer as well, which is always important and is asked for this time of year with CMS and all the compliance updates that they made for 2024. So, as mentioned on one of those slides, this is a really senior-friendly questionnaire. So we're just going to go right through it so that you guys can see this live. So, just, hey there, this would be your information, obviously. All they have to do is click this Let's Go. We have more required disclaimers down here, but this is just basically, once again, a way that we're keeping you compliant. Now, this is what the consumer would add their email address here. So I'll just, I'll use Paul as my guinea pig here this morning. And we'll say that, it just asks you, are you familiar with Medicare?
Kind of coaches them along. Yeah.
It does, absolutely. Yeah. And so, and this is all information that you're going to get back. Like Paul said, it's going to be on a PDF. So this is just asking questions that you, the agent, may need to be able to have up front, so that you guys can go out here and quote this stuff, and then have a good idea when you go to talk with this person, maybe even for the first time, that you're doing, that you got a good understanding of where they're at in regards to the Medicare process. So for this one, I'm just going to click this not familiar and click OK. And we'll just say this is Paul. Hey, Paul, let's get started. We kind of see up here at the top, we have a little bit of a progress bar. So as we move along, we can kind of make sure that we're, check marking everything. So right after we've added our name and email, which is kind of tell me about your current health insurance. And so you kind of see all the different options out here. So this is all information that would be helpful for you, whether they currently have Medicare, whether they don't have Medicare, whether they're on COBRA, maybe they're on Medicaid. All of this is information that we're trying to capture upfront, so that when you go to meet with the member, like you said, you're going in with, all of the information upfront, so that you can really prepare for this. So I'm just going to say, yes.
Yeah, just something, guys, and this can really help you not waste your time. So, for example, if somebody clicks on, I have coverage through an employer union, and they say I'm with OPERS, and I get this call from brokers all the time. They have to go through via benefits, where they lose their monthly stipend if they, don't use via benefits. And I hate to say it, but this is kind of a way to, maybe weed out some people as well.
Yep, absolutely. So for this one, I'll just say that, I have coverage through my employer or union. Okay, and then click OK. And then, so this is, we're gathering information on our member. So this is just, what's your address? So I'm just going to put some of this information in here. For those of you that don't know, we are located here in Paul, both Paul and I here this morning. Our office is in Powell, so ask for the county. I'm going to click OK. You can kind of see here where they also tried to make this font, easily readable, a little bit bigger, once again, a little bit more senior friendly. Now just some more questions. So this is where they can go ahead and add some of these, the information in regards to, their preferences, I would call them, so it starts with pharmacy. If I click search for pharmacy, it's just using the zip code here that we already put in on the address, but we'll just use like CVS, for example. Click the search button, and then we can select their, their pharmacy that they use here. And then, sorry, here.
Click on the add button. Yeah.
Yep. My camera was blocking the bottom of my screen, my other screen here. Okay. So, and then so we, that's where we add the preferred pharmacy. So I've already done that, selected CVS. So I'm just going to click OK. It said you saw that you can add up to 3. I skipped past that a little bit quickly there. But in case that they use multiple pharmacies, you'll get all of that information if the client puts that in. We're just going to once again move forward and look at those prescriptions. So as Paul mentioned, on the prescription front, the good news is because they already had a relationship with Connecture, which does power the Medicare app and the Medicare Center contacts area of the tool. You will see the same results in the sense that everything is listed the same in regards to frequency, dosage, the actual, the spelling, how it's listed in the system. Because, if you're talking like injections and things like that, sometimes the way that those drugs are listed on one site to another is not always, the same. And so that they've just listed this stuff out the same way that you would see it inside a Medicare Center. So let's just go ahead and we'll just use like Adverb, for example, because I know that kind of comes through. Yep. Sorry, I'm not sure what was going on there with my computer there. I hit the wrong button. But we'll just add this advair. You can see here we kind of get to choose the dosage. Once again, it just comes up with the most commonly prescribed there. We can add more if we want. We can add the Eliquis or something like that, and you can kind of see here as we're choosing this information, it's just going to kind of compile and let you add as many as you'd like here. And it, like I said, defaults to some values, but your consumer would be able to update any of this information if they'd so choose. So we'll just leave it at those two here for now so that we can kind of move forward. Click OK. And then you have here that it's basically asking you to just verify that your prescriptions are correct, because we all know that prescriptions and network are the two things that most of the time drive the decision as to what's best for the member.
Yeah.
And so it's just really asking you to make sure that this information is correct and that they're not forgetting any medications, because we've all probably had that happen too when we're working with our seniors, is that we find out that this information's gone. So we had a question about what about generics, and so what if maybe they do remember, they see that and they're like, well, yeah, you know what, I did forget a prescription here. So like let's just maybe like allopurinol, for example. I know that that's a generic medication here, so we're just almost forgot about that. Now we can get that added. We can go back, and now our information is correct. So we're going to hit that blue button that all of our information is correct. Okay, and now as we move forward, we're now into that doctors and hospitals area. So in that doctors and hospitals, as mentioned, prescriptions, network, so important when we're making our decisions. And I know all of you guys already know that. So, maybe like around here, we want, the James Cancer Hospital, it's just asking hospitals, and then you can add as many of these as you'd like. But you can also, it is going to ask about your both hospitals and doctors, as well as specialists inside of this platform. So it's making sure that it's capturing, anything where they receive care. Okay, and so let's just grab. This is just I forgot that this is just, I just apologize. This is just kind of a freeform field. So I'm just going to provide Dr. Jacob Wolf, and then if we wanted to add a specialist there, we can add that there. I don't know, Dr. James Smith.
Cardiologist.
There we go. And now after, we can continue to add this information if we'd like, or we can just move forward. So I'm just going to click OK. You see here we have reminders on these screens for the seniors to make sure that they're getting, yes, all of the information that we need to, to be able to find these doctors when we go to run our own quotes. Okay. So we're going to click OK. Now, tell us about your preferences when it comes to your Medicare plan. This is just more information that you guys can receive, to make sure that you guys are making, coming with your best, information right up front when you go to meet with these members. And so hopefully that will lead to quicker close times, and less appointments and meetings with these folks. But, you can see here, I don't mind paying copays for medical services in exchange for lower premiums. I would prefer to pay higher monthly premiums in exchange for little or no out-of-pocket costs for medical services. So clearly this question is just kind of asking them to just, indicate their preference. So you kind of might know whether you need to lead with a MedSup or a Medicare Advantage here. Okay. I mean, that's really what this question is driving to. I'm sure most of you guys know that. But I'm going to click OK. And, this is another piece of information that I always think is pretty critical. Most of you guys are aware, if you're working with maybe somebody in that state teachers or retirement system or something like that, they have a particular, vendor. I can't remember who it is anymore, Paul. I'm not sure if Paul does, but they're supposed to go through that particular vendor to enroll into Medicare, into their Medicare plans, so that they can take advantage of the benefits through the STRS program. And so, if you get this information that they're on STRS, then you might be able to save yourself some time and point them in the right direction without actually having to go through that quoting process. So this is just another way that we're gathering information on the member here for you. Now, you can kind of see here, after they've made that selection, we're almost done. Now, this is the phone number. It is, giving them that disclaimer that you're providing this information to a licensed sales agent. So what this is doing is it is giving you, the agent, permission to contact.
Mhm.
So, we'll talk through how you guys can use some of these links here, upcoming here this morning. And then with that, especially if you're just sending this out or you're providing to somebody that's also providing it to prospects, maybe in a way that you can use these links, you might not talk to these people up front. And if someone just comes out here and completes this, you now have a valid permission to contact to just reach out to them. You don't have to wait for them to call you. Okay. So we're just going to use my office line here. Click OK. We'll just say he's 65. Of course, Paul's not. He's not a hair over 30. So. And then we finally get this. Let's wrap this up, okay? And it's just you kind of more disclaimers here, just so that you are compliant, okay? And I'm going to continue to reiterate that we went through all of the compliance requirements. And so one of the things we've already talked about, which is this needing to meet the scope of appointment process. So it is the last part of this where we ask the consumers to kind of go through and complete an electronic scope of appointment confirmation. So this is where they're just going to add their initials here. So in this case, we'll just do PM. And we want to talk about all of these products. So that's why there's an initial field on each one of these. And then he gets to choose the signature option. So we'll grab this one in the middle here, and then click the sign in complete. So there's no actual signature here that the consumer has to do. They don't have to click their mouse and draw it around and try to fumble with that. It's just already a preset of options. They get to choose which one they like the best, select it, and then click the sign in complete. After we do that, the member should be done here. And right there, it says you're all set. And now it's saying Matt from, I set up Prize Insurance Agency, as just a dummy. And so it's just letting them know that you're gonna contact them. Okay, so you're gonna contact them. And what happens is you, the agent, will receive an email letting you know that someone has completed this. And then we can also always log in to our RetireFlo account, go over here to the submission center, and then we can kind of see, some of these clients that we have out here. And so obviously here's Paul right here from this morning. And if I click this download, you guys are going to be able to see that PDF that Paul was already kind of talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of open up on a different screen here. I apologize.
Yeah, and that PDF, guys, you can, like I said, you can use it to copy and paste the drugs, doctors, hospitals into Medicare Center, or, if you don't want to do that, you can just upload the PDF, into the Medicare Center, into the client's profile, so you've got it saved, or, save it wherever you want to save it. But it's, as you can see, it's a relatively simple process to knock out not only the scope of appointment, but the permission to contact and to, get the drugs, in a format which, you can take and right over to the Medicare Center. Our goal is to knock out one sales appointment out of this, turn this into a, with the right client. Obviously, this is not going to work for every single client. We know that. But with some clients, with a good chunk of them, especially nowadays, I think you can turn this into a one meeting close, which is ideal.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're all gunning for, right? I mean, there's only so much time during AEP anyway, and that's right around the corner. So
especially for PDPs.
Yes, absolutely. And so here is that form summary. So, you can access it at any time from that submission area of the tool, and all of the responses are right here. What's their current coverage? How familiar are they? All of their preferreds. Here's all the prescription information. So you'll just be able to take, this name, type that right into, the preferences area inside the Medicare Center, copy and paste it however you want to do that, add the dosages because that stuff's going to line up to a T, add that information in there. Here's our hospitals. Here's our physicians. We see all of that information right here on these summaries. And, okay, here's that retirement status. This is where they're at. And then ultimately, if we come down here, there's our scope of appointment. So we have their initials where they need to go. We have their signature electronically, captured down here. Now, just like any other scope of appointment, there is an area down here for this to be completed by the agent. So while not done electronically on the agent side, you would maybe just need to capture that out, complete this out for you, the agent, by maybe printing that out. And then you'll be able to have that secured copy for the agent on your side for all of your records for that 10-year requirement. Okay, but it's ultimately capturing that scope, that all of your information in regards to your preferences and that permission to contact all through this process. So if you receive this, the client's basically giving you their approval here to go ahead and give them a call at any of this information that they've provided here. So I know that we're getting some questions here, Paul. Have you been kind of following the chat, or do you want me to kind of go back through that?
Yeah, let's go to that. I'm sorry, Matt, I have not.
Okay.
Look
No, that's
here.
okay. So we had one question that came in, and I should have grabbed this one right while we were going through that, but if a client doesn't want to share their address, can they proceed without providing this information? I do believe that some of that information regarding their info is not required fields, but there are some that are required, I believe, and it might be like, I believe, I can go back through that demo here, and actually, let's go back through that together, because
Okay.
that is something that I'm not quite sure on myself here, and I should have played around with that a little bit more. So. All right. So there you go. Before you continue, we notice you didn't complete the question. That's okay. Just a reminder, we're asking this question to, thoughtfully provide you plan options in your area. So they can continue past that, but it will prompt them to complete this out, because ultimately, if they give you all of this other information, you're gonna want them to give you at least their zip code and county, because that way you know where you're gonna need to shop these plans at. I mean, that's gonna be crucial information to capture. So while none of this is required, I remembered that while we were going through that approval process, that a lot of these fields could not be required. We do prompt them to get that completed. Okay, so that's the good news. Can we add or update reminders? I don't believe that there's any way that you guys can edit these fields at this point in time. These questions, the display, the layout, all of this information is run by the RetireFlo folks. And then not only that, all of these screenshots and functionality of these sites were approved by the carriers the way that they stand. So I do not believe that there's any way that you guys can add anything to these pages. Our providers based on zip code. What if they see someone outside of their zip code? Can zip code be updated provider or can zip code be updated provider or provider? You can. You will not need some of that zip code information. I mean, on the provider page, I can go back to this, but on the provider pages specifically. Sorry, I'm just getting us to the doctor page. That's a free form field. Okay, so there's no zip code here, but it is asking you for first and last names of those providers. So there is no zip code here to that makes this more area specific on the search. Okay. On the feature where they list physicians, can you add a zip code section? Typically, that is what Medicare Center requires to find the provider. Okay, gotcha. So that was more of a request, and we had the question first and then a comment. So we will definitely take that back to RetireFlo. I think that's a good call out, and one thing that we will certainly address with them.
Hey, Matt, if you wouldn't mind interjecting here. Guys, just so you know, this is a work in progress. This is, RetireFlo 1.0. I know they're going to continue to make this better and better. This may or may not happen in the next year plus, but, Matt mentioned the close relationship with Connexure. There's the possibility at some point that you might be able to hit a button from RetireFlo and have all this information automatically go into the Medicare Center. So, who knows? Can't guarantee that'll happen, but there are talks about that. So just think how cool that would be if we could get to that stage. That would be fantastic. So yeah, feedback is critical. Obviously we want this tool to be as good as possible. I know the RetireFlo people do as well. This is all about trying to honestly make life easier for you guys. And one of the reasons RetireFlo came into play is to try to level the playing field against these call centers. I'll be honest with you, that is really what drove the beginning of RetireFlo. So just so you know, they're very pro broker. So keep the feedback coming.
So just so that we were getting the questions, is there a way to lead the consumer to click all options? Can they opt out of any products on the SOA? They can by just simply skipping these initial here fields. Like none of these are required, just like on our typical scope. I mean, they don't have the, they're not required to put, a check mark or initial on a box in an area. So they can skip past this information. Is there a promo code? There is a promo code. That's kind of a good segue back. We're going to go back into our presentation here in a moment. And then it looks like we got somebody, it looks like Dalton's out here providing some clarity on some of this stuff. So to answer Pam and Tom's questions, if a senior tries to skip a question, it prompts them to answer the question in the entirety, but ultimately they can continue without answering a question. So perfect. We got some of that information. And on the first page where it states, I am already on Medicare, I'm assuming that this is referring to Medicare Advantage or MedSup or not Medicare. Is this potentially confusing to the potential client? Should it state I am already on a Medicare plan? More good feedback. We'll take that back to RetireFlo. And just so that you guys, we just went over that. Feedback's important here. So we've got a lot of questions. This is good.
Yeah.
Can you review again the opening message to the member? Absolutely. So let's just go back out here one more time. I'm doing this kind of a third time here. So just kind of a get started. Well, you can add, like I said, more information here to your profile. Hey there, I'm Matt Fry. I've got a couple questions to kind of get things going here for you on this short form. And then I'll contact you to discuss plan options in your area. So, just kind of giving them that indication. If they go through this, they're going to be contacted. And even down here, it kind of talks about how, I'm a licensed health insurance agency or agent. I kind of set this up as an agency. So, can this be imported into Medicare Center?
Yes.
Can't be imported yet. I know Paul just talked about
Yeah.
that. That's something that we're, trying to make sure that gets done, but it's not quite there yet. But the compatibility with the way that the drugs are laid out are exactly the same. So it just like Paul said, copy and paste right into the tool as it stands here today. Trying to get through some questions that maybe haven't been answered. We had some that were answered. Can we customize some fields like zip code to be required? We cannot, at least at this point. Like I mentioned, everything that as it's laid out has gone through the compliance ringer. So it is laid out the way it is laid out the way that we were able to lay it out in the most appropriate format. Okay, that making things required is when we can, was what some of the things that they didn't like and made us kind of go back and change. So just kind of keep that in mind. If we have to print out to complete the agent part of the scope, is there any way to make it fewer pages? It looks like the scope itself is 4 to 6 pages long and this is part of the summary. Is there any way the scope can be a separate entity from the standpoint of completing and storing? More feedback. I don't have an answer on that here yet today, but at least for the agent section of that scope, I mean, you can only print that last page at least to make that a one-page print, when in your printer settings when you go to complete that out. Can you try putting in just zip code and county on your test? Sure. Okay, here you can kind of see here as if someone is a little bit, more quick, they're not going to go through it this quick, but they're gonna, they're going to be able to get through it pretty darn fast if they're a quick learner or maybe a little bit more further. So the question was just zip code and county. So yeah, let's go like 4365 Delaware. Continue. So you can get that information through with just the zip code and the county. Can you bypass all of the queues in case we spoke on phone and they gave this info and just send them to the link for SOA? Um, uh, I believe that they can skip some of these questions. I mean, what they would just have to do, like for like pharmacies and things, for example, is just click this. I don't have, all this information. I don't know. There's a lot of that information that they could just get through this pretty quickly, the way that I'm kind of getting through it pretty quickly. Okay. You know, clearly, if you're going to get this information though, I would just say if they're taking the time to complete the link, just have them get it all. You know what I mean? I know you might have gotten that information over the phone, but why not get it in writing too, just in case? Would be my guidance there. Can you review the pros and cons of using RetireFlo versus Medicare app for the SOA? I think where I've been getting this question. I know Paul talked to me about this a little bit
Yeah.
too. Just from my perspective, I mean, there are, we just want you to be able to capture a scope. So whether you choose, one or the other, it's okay. What I like about this tool too is that it gives you that permission to contact. So that's one thing that is little bit missing in Medicare Center at this point in time, or Medicare app, in that, if you would have gotten the client's information, um, you would have already had to get that info from them, whether it's by phone, by some other form of communication with that member. You've already put that stuff in. This is like we kind of mentioned that we're kind of professional front door. This is just
Yeah.
giving you an alternative to that, so that gives you a way to capture all of that preference and information through an alternative link. So while I can't say one scope's better than the other, because they're both scopes, and we just want you to be able to capture one. The scope was made as part of this process up front, just as a way so that you didn't have to send another scope. If you're gathering all of that, information, it just is an alternative way to get the scope. It just all depends on how you guys like to do business. But
Yeah, Matt.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I'd like to interject, another nice thing with RetireFlo, and you probably saw it in the beginning, it has links to if you have like a business Facebook page, a LinkedIn page, your company's website, you can type up a bio on yourself, the agency. Again, Matt used the terminology of professional front door. And I really think this does, one, a really good job with that, but two, makes it very easy for the consumer to navigate it. That's what we all want. We want the seniors to go through this and say, this is not that bad. This is actually pretty easy. I can do it. The more that do that, the less work you guys have to do, chasing around, getting scopes and bugs and, 3 weeks.
you're cutting out a little bit on your audio. I apologize
Oh,
that last
okay.
comment. We had you for the most part of that.
Okay.
But I think we kind of caught the message. You're just kind of cutting out just a little bit. I just want to let you know that.
Sure.
But so just kind of keeping on moving on just a little bit. I know we got some more questions in here, and this is great, great activity here. But so I'm going to go through these very quickly. Does the SOA need to be sent anywhere, stored in RetireFlo, or just saved by us? So it is saved in RetireFlo on your inside of your submission center. So you will always have access to that. But you can save it, yourself as well. It doesn't need to be sent anywhere at this point in time, but you do need to be able to provide it to a carrier upon request. Okay, if they ever would ask you for that scope. Is RetireFlo for referrals? Absolutely. That is a great way to do it. And I mean, and that's what, if we have, hopefully going to have some time here. We're just getting a lot of questions, which is awesome. But we are, that's a great way to do it for referrals. If you have unique, referral relationships with, other businesses or things like that, this is a way that you can provide them this link. They can go, the person that's referring you already can just give this link to a person, and then that person can go through and complete this, and you'll have all of the information about their preferences, a scope of appointment, and permission to contact for that referral right up front. And so not only are you going to be able to go out and just call that referral without having to wait for them to call you, you're going to be able to do that with all of this information in hand, so that you can come prepared for that conversation, and have some solutions waiting for them. So this is a great tool, absolutely, for referrals. How soon can we sign up, and how? Thanks for making this available. Will save me hours. Okay, let's go. Love that feedback. That's great. Regarding the sign up, that's probably a good transition here. I will. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint presentation here. Sorry here. Want to. Okay. And so I'm going to get into account settings and permission management, but I'm going to kind of come back to that. So for sign up, there is a promo code that we will need to use. We would just ask if you're interested in signing up for this, that you contact your sales director. Now those prices up there are not what you guys are going to get. For Cornerstone, Paul, I'm sure we'll want to talk about this a little bit more, but we're going to subsidize a lot of the cost here for you guys up front. We have a special relationship with the RetireFlo folks, and so it's only $9.99 per link that you guys set up. And I want to show you guys how you can set up multiple links though, as well, if we have some time here. So Paul, do you want to talk a little bit about this part of the
Yeah. So guys, if you read the email blast, the one requirement that we do have is that you have at least 2 major Medicare Advantage appointments through us, because this is costing us money. And, we're happy to subsidize the cost because, quite frankly, the more efficient you guys are, it helps us and helps you guys write more business. So reach out to your sales director. If you don't know who your sales director is, give me a call. My direct number is 614-763-2251, and I can get you the code. It's very, very easy to create the link. It probably takes 5 minutes, I'm told, to create this. And so it is per link. So most of you probably will only need 1 link. But let's say hypothetically, Matt might even go into some kind of example. But there's a big company here in town that's called Worthington Industries. Let's say Matt Fry happens to have a really good relationship with Worthington Industries. You can create a separate link, RetireFlo / Matt Fry Insurance / Worthington Industries. So anytime somebody is packing up and leaving Worthington Industries, the HR person could provide that specific link for Worthington Industry retirees to their retiree. And like Matt was saying, they fill it out, you get a little ding in your email inbox, and you've got permission to reach out to this person. So what we're hoping, along with the 48-hour scope of appointment killer, the real help on the PDPs and getting the drugs, we're also hoping that you guys at some point, and it's obviously broker by broker, but can use this as a marketing link as well. Quite frankly, dropping mailers, the return on those is anywhere from 1.5% to 2% if you're lucky. So it's all about centers of influence and getting referrals, whether it's a group health agent that hates Medicare, that gives you people, or property and casualty agencies, CPAs, financial planners. Anybody that's done well in this industry typically has some centers of influence, sending them leads. So, just depends on how big that person is, whether you want to have a separate link for them. You might be just fine with your current link, but just know that's available, and that has, definitely drawn some interest.
Yep, we got some more questions here too. Is there a way to make this text compatible? I mean, so you can just text out your link. So in mine, it's just retireflo.com / Matt-Fry. And so in that scenario, like as long as they have a smartphone and can access the internet, I mean, they're just going to be redirected to your page, and then they're going to be able to do this from their mobile device. So yeah, I mean, it is text compatible in that sense. We had the question, can this be more personalized when sending to my current members? Current members would seem to think I already know this info. Why am I sending this to them? So we've kind of talked about it. I mean, that this is in a way to gather information kind of on newer clients. It's a good place for referrals and things like that. So if it's on your current members and you already have that information, you might not feel the need to send this out because you already have permission to contact. because they're your current clients. And there's other ways that you may already have some of this information in a system like Medicare Center where you can just send them the scope. So, I mean, in that scenario, like for your current members, that might be something that you need to think through that process. But for referrals, for new business, for people that you're working with for the first time, this is a great first step. You know what I mean, in capturing some of this information. We had a comment. I wish the permission to contact was more specific as to who may contact them. There may be confusion by the client thinking they are putting their information out into the insurance world to be contacted. One of those disclaimers that was down there did say my name and my agency's name in regards to who it was that's going to be contacting them. So just so that you know that that's the case. We had the question, can I use it for ACAs? That is something that was already, in discussion and in development right now. That scope of appointment is for Medicare, but I do know that in that ACA market there was, a similar form that they're implementing here, and so that is being developed out, I believe, as we speak. So just know that that's coming. Okay, like Paul said, this is version 1.0. Is it possible for RetireFlo to add the ability for the agent to electronically sign the scope, making it similar to other platforms so we don't have to print? All good feedback. We will definitely take all this chat feedback back to the RetireFlo developers for sure. What a deal. Thanks, Cornerstone. Absolutely. Thank you, Matt and Paul. Thank you for joining. And so, real quick, I know we have just about 10 more minutes. That was kind of the end of the presentation. I mean, I had some of those earlier slides, but I'm going to go back here, and I want to show you guys a couple of things out here in the system. So, like Paul mentioned, if you guys maybe have that referral-based program or something like that, it's really easy to create links. So, as Paul mentioned, it's like that's $99 per link. So, but some of you guys may be inclined to where you want to maybe set up your own link for, one of your special referral sources. So for example, if I go out, I'm logged in as an agent here in RetireFlo, and I'm going to click into link dashboard. You see the one that I already showed you guys multiple times as we were going through that scenario. But we can also add more links here. So if I just click this add link button, I'm going to your code. Once you get it with the Cornerstone, it will say Cornerstone, and then it'll have some different pricing and things like that. Okay. So just know that. But we're just going to click this create link. Now, I don't have an agency logo, so I just use my headshot. But you guys can add your own logo. You can add your headshots in here. So this is where the customization comes in. Okay. So for this particular link. But what you could do, if you had permission from the business, is if, let's just say I had a special referral relationship with Matt's Widgets, and Matt's Widgets, has a large workforce, and, we want to work with them directly to provide them with their own unique link to the HR team so that they can just share that link with their members every time that they retire. And so for that agency logo, maybe I would use the Matt's Widgets, logo and information, like I said, assuming we had permission for that. And what we could do here is we could just, we can name this however we want to regarding the unique URL. So it can just be retireflo.com/ that business name. So it could be Matt's Widgets, okay? And we're just going to go up here. We're going to do now we have to select the states in which we're licensed for, because this is what displays for them. Okay. We do have links out here where you can add, your hometown. You can add information in regards to your Facebook, if you're LinkedIn, if you have any of those business, facing sites. Like I have a LinkedIn profile, but I won't add it here. We'll just say, hometown of Pal. And, we can just, we need to set up the email that will receive notifications. So if somebody completes, if Matt's Widgets HR person shares this, URL with somebody, then, and somebody completes it, we need to know the email addresses that's going to receive that confirmation that somebody completed that and get the PDF of the, of what they've completed. So in this case, I'll just use, now we have the email associated with it, and then finish and create. And that's
it.
That's it here. As soon as I forgot the photo here, so I'm sorry. It is asking for a photo here. So you're seeing all my extra things here, so we'll just add this in here again. Now, like I said, we could update the agency logo, and that agency logo is going to show differently here in a couple areas. But that headshot is for the personalization. I know we had a couple of those questions, like how can I personalize this? Well, you're personalizing by putting your face and your name and your information on these links, so that when they go out there and see it, they're seeing your face, they're seeing your name, and then they know who really is going to contact them on the other side of the phone. And so if I click that finish and create, now I have both here. And then so now I can just, share the Matt's Widgets page with Matt's Widgets. Their HR team can just hang on to this. They can share this link with all of their members, and then, or all of their employees, and then they can come out here, they can get started with me. It's going to come in with all of their information, permission to contact, all of that stuff. So just know that. Now, if let's getting some more questions here. Nice to use for current members to gather updated info and ask that they forward referrals. Yes, exactly. You can use this also. I use it for like Matt's Widgets, but if you guys have multiple agents inside of an agency, you can create one agency login for RetireFlo and give each agent inside of that agency their own link. I apologize. Getting that time of year. I'm sure all of you guys know.
They're asking $9.99 per link per month. Yes, that is correct. And guys, just so you know, there's no commitment. So, it's a month-to-month deal. So for whatever reason, if this isn't working for you, you can opt out, and if it's middle of the month, it'll be prorated. So there's, you really can't ask for a better. We're that confident in this thing that there's no long-term commitment whatsoever.
Yeah, and we're seeing those questions come through. Can a link be put on our website? Absolutely. Now, yes. It would need to be a redirect, but you could put the retireflo.com / your name, or however you guys set that up. You can put that right to your website. Yep, right from your website. It's going to redirect them to this questionnaire. They'll go through it, complete it, and you'll still get the stuff on the back end. Okay, but yes, these links can be added to a website, kind of more as a redirect, but it can certainly be added to your website. But yeah.
Jim is saying nice to use for current members to gather updated info and ask that they forward. Exactly. I mean, that's, especially with what's going on right now, for the 48-hour scope and the drugs and the standalone PDPs. That's first and foremost, what we're thinking. And then hopefully long-term, more on the marketing side. But right now, with the here and now, that's what we're thinking, the current clients and, getting that scope so it's not a, big nuisance for you guys to, try to get a 48-hour scope.
Yep, absolutely. Well, let me just go back here one more time here. So inside of here too, we didn't really get a chance to explore this too much, but we do have account settings and things like that. So if you do have an agency and you're setting up multiple links for multiple agents, you can set permission information. You can update payment settings. For instance, you can invite users to this agency. Like I invited Paul here yesterday. I'm the active user and set up as an admin. I set him up as an agent, so he might be missing, some features that I am, but you can set permissions. You can give access to different individuals inside of this, inside of the account. So if you have maybe somebody up front or, an operations person inside of your office, they can run some of this stuff on the back end and just set the links up for you guys. So just all good information, here's where we can also, see some of our personal information, update some of this info, if we would ever need to, or replace photos, that sort of thing. All information can be found inside of the account setting. Okay. And we do have some resources, that this is more so coming soon, as you can see. There'll be more to come there. But this just went live on the 15th, like Paul mentioned. It was, getting these links ready, getting the questionnaires ready and things like that. And so, where we move forward from here is, a lot of it will probably be agent feedback, like we just talked about. So
Yeah, and guys, we appreciate the feedback. We're definitely trying to make this better. It's brand new. But yeah, your constructive criticism is welcome. Obviously, we want this to get better and better, and I do think it will. I think there's a commitment from the vendor to do that. So.
And we got the question, I think we're going to end on this just because we're almost right at the top of the hour, is that, can you clarify how you to get started? Absolutely. So, what you can go do, what the best thing, you can reach out to any of us here at Cornerstone, Paul, any of your sales directors, everybody's kind of caught up on this. We can make sure that you have that promo code. If you go out to retireflo.com right now, it is live. You can kind of get set up, but, kind of call us if you'd like to, to kind of go through that, the promo code again, a little bit, at Cornerstone capital C, but, we're going to want to make sure that you guys are utilizing this the way that we want to. So we want to talk with you guys about these tools, on a one-on-one basis as well. So, reach out to us and we'll get you going in the right direction, but it is live. So,
yeah. And guys, just so you know, the reason we're using this promo code is not to make this like some infomercial cheesy thing. It's quite frankly, we are paying money for this. And honestly, we don't want brokers that are not, working with us to benefit from this, just to be dead honest. You guys have been loyal to us. We want to be loyal to you. And, quite honestly, we're not going to just let any broker off the street have access to this. So that's why we're doing that.
Yeah. Now, I did get an interesting question about if we would recommend using our recorded line number or our personal phone number. I think he's referring to our Medicare Center agent phone line. And, for those recorded lines. Now, if you're getting all of this information up front on a prospect, there may be a scenario in which you're going to close them on that first call. You know what I mean? Potentially. And if that's the case, then you're going to want to be on recorded line, because we still have to record, sales, marketing, and enrollment calls. But you can always that's personal preference to agent. You can put your own personal, information out there. And if you get that permission to contact, you talk with them the first time, you might can flip over to that recorded line too, if that's your preference. Once it's confirmed that you're going to, move into that enrollment. So we still have to live within those compliance rules. But some of this is just, you guys get to be, kind of dictate how you guys utilize the information inside of this tool. So, all right.
Looks like there's a couple more.
Oh, is there? Maybe I missed it. After a client is done, can we add a link to our Calendly account so that they can set an appointment with me? I will take that back to RetireFlo. Truthfully, I'm not quite sure on that. Now, there is some areas in which, you can add links to like Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm not sure if there's a way that we can somehow, that could somehow be done already. But we'll get this chat transcript, make sure that the people that need to see it, so that we can give all of this wonderful feedback back to them, so that hopefully we can make this even better. So, okay. Well, with that, thank you guys for giving us your time here today.
There's one more. If they call us after filling this out, does the 48-hour rule apply?
Inbound calls are an exception to the 48-hour requirement. So if they were to pick this up, get your information off of your site, and then call you, then that's an inbound phone call, and you're able to move forward with that appointment right away. But we still have to get that scope. But inbound is an exception. Inbound, walk-ins, and last 4 days of a valid election period. That's our 48-hour exceptions to the rules for 2024, everybody. So, okay. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys for those that hung on here. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. We appreciate your partnership. All right, reach out to us if you're interested. Thank you very much.
Okay. See you guys.